recording. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first edition of Boxcars here with the Talkbox podcast. As always, I'm your host, Chad, Captain Tempest, and with me, I've got Zack, Cryle Lord 530.
Greetings from a car.
Yeah, from a car. Zack's car, specifically, as he's driving. So what we're planning on doing with this new series is we're just going to kind of, just shoot the shit about some video games as a sort of like a review. And we're just going to do it while driving out to get food or coffee or whatever moves us at the time, really.
It's just kind of it's an exercise, it's an experiment. We'll see where it takes us.
Yeah, we do this a lot anyway when we're driving to, wherever. Like, if we're driving to Bento's or to Adams and whatnot, we end up, talking about video games a lot, so we figured, hey, why not record it? So here we are, the first topic that we are going to be doing for our inaugural episode of Boxcars. That's going to be really hard to get used to.
That name might change.
It might change. It's a working title. Here we go. So anyway, we're going to be talking about Oxenfree. It's a wonderful little indie game that got released last year. Personally, it's my pick for 2016.
Right.
Like, forget everything else that came out. That was like the key thing for me.
Okay.
So, Oxenfree came out, I believe, January 15th, 2016. So, it's almost been a full year. I bought it over the summer of 2016, and then I didn't actually play it until this past Christmas.
Okay.
So, it really took me a while to get to it, but it's like I saw so many different advertisements and little things that popped up in my Facebook feed. I was honestly surprised by that, because I didn't think that kind of advertising would
synergize with you. You didn't attach to you in some way.
I didn't think that kind of thing would be getting flung my way, but the more I looked into it and the more I saw it in my newsfeed, I'm like, you know what, this sounds at least somewhat interesting. Let's do a little bit of research on it. And it turned out to be a really cool indie game that's it's like 1980s, sort of like supernatural, not necessarily, I guess you could call it a thriller. It's very
Stranger Things.
Yeah, very Stranger Things, very Twin Peaks, very like Alan Wake. There's something about the Pacific Northwest, man. There's something about it that just draws me in and sinks its teeth into me. Especially with another title that I played over the past year and a half was Life is Strange. And oh my god, I fell in love with that game. And with Oxenfree, it pretty much was kind of the same kind of feeling all over again. So how Oxenfree plays out is you are playing as a character called Alex, and she is visiting a place called Edwards Island after hours with a bunch of her friends in the junior class of her high school.
Right.
And they're basically there to, party and commit improper debauchery acts.
Yeah.
It's basically
teens doing what teens with attitude would do.
Oh, of course, yeah. It's basically like the junior thing. Like the seniors get prom, the sophomores get pep rally. The juniors get this. They get to go fucking be drunk on a beach. I wish I could have done that in high school. Oh man.
Whatever works for you. Whatever floats your boat.
So yeah, they go to Edwards Island, and the whole thing about Edwards Island is it's that it used to be a military installation, way back when. And they ended up, and now it's just like a tourist trap. They basically, you go there to basically buy World War II memorabilia and to visit various locations on the island, take the tour of the old military base type thing.
Do a hike, do some stuff.
Exactly. So it's basically like a natural park reserve out on the island somewhere. Okay. So they get there, they take the last ferry, and they end up staying the night there, and they encounter these quote-unquote weirdo caves.
Okay.
The caves down by the beach, according to another one of the characters, Ren, he said that when you play a radio and try to tune into some frequencies by the cave, you get stations that shouldn't be there. Because the entire island is disconnected. You can't make a phone call out. Right. You obviously can't get any radio signals or anything, so the fact that you're getting anything off of a radio at all is pretty silly.
It's crazy.
It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is they tune into the thing over by the caves and they explore deeper and they unknowingly make contact with the supernatural.
Oh, man.
And it's it's such a wonderful concept, and it's not something that I guess is really new. It's definitely something that's been explored here and there.
Well, it's been explored a couple times, but I think with you compared it to Stranger Things in that it's a story about kids discovering supernatural beings. So there's maybe a little more exploration. There's a little more curiosity. I would assume that there's a little less violent intentions.
Oh no,
the game.
I mean, there's it's really not like a gory game in any sense at all. It's more just creepy than it is fucking bloody.
Right. So it's more Alan Wake, less Until Dawn.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's exactly kind of it. So it's a very fun little thing. I personally enjoyed the crap out of it. The art style was what really kind of hooked me in. The entire island, the backdrops that you play across, the whole thing is just it looks like it could be a desktop on a Mac.
Right.
You see this giant fucking forest or these beaches, these dimly lit military base in the background. There's a nice hazy fog over everything, and it makes everything kind of blend together and just really pop.
Okay.
The art, it's definitely one of my favorite things about it.
Now, is there anything that you didn't like? Is there anything that sort of fell flat?
Things that fell flat. I definitely think that it could have been a little bit longer. I was able to get, the first playthrough took me a little under 4 hours.
Right.
So it was an incredibly short game. It's made longer by the fact that there is replayability.
And
you can go back.
Paths,
yeah. That was another thing that I had meant to mention, is that there's a dialogue tree with it, and it's not the same thing that you're used to with all of these like a lot of Telltale game stuff where it's you make a choice and then you see a reaction.
Yeah.
How the game plays out is you're basically walking and talking at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're exploring the map, but while you're doing that, the characters are having a conversation.
And you're choosing
And on the fly, you're choosing options for the conversation and whatnot. So you could, it's just everything is scripted out. So it's okay, this will go on for a certain amount of time, and that certain amount of time should be enough for you to get to the next destination.
Right.
And maybe start another scripted piece of dialogue or something like that.
Grab some stuff here, grab some things there.
I thought it was a very nice change of pace, because it's in a lot of games that focus on cutscenes and focus on cinematics, there could be huge gaps of just blank space and dead air when you're playing the game and walking to a certain location. The whole thing's streamlined, so you're walking to a certain location, and also hearing dialogue and catching up on the story and whatnot.
It adds a little bit more immersion, because you don't have time to sit and watch dead air happen.
Exactly.
And you get to sort of criticize the game. It doesn't give you time to criticize.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. Like I said, it could be a little bit longer. The dialogue, there's so much dialogue that you probably could go several playthroughs and not have every possible iteration played out. They recorded a lot of stuff for it, and all of the voice actors did a fantastic job.
Nice.
It's just well written, it's well spoken. I just felt like it could have probably been a little bit longer.
Okay.
Another thing that kind of stuck with me, be it positive or negative, was the sort of, I'm trying to think of the words to describe it. There were some things that happened with the dialogue that were a little odd. I don't want to... It wasn't the writing or how it was delivered or anything, but it's just sometimes I wanted to sit and listen through all the audio instead of move, because there were certain times where if you hit a certain part of the area that you're exploring, there's a scripted thing of dialogue that just goes.
That will happen.
Yeah, and it cuts off. It cuts off whatever was happening prior, and now focuses on this new thing.
Yeah.
So, unknowingly, I kind of skipped forward when I wanted to actually listen to most of the conversation to begin with. So some of the segments, I guess, aren't as well timed out as others.
Well, because that cuts off whole dialogue trees that are useful in getting to know characters, getting different options available.
Exactly. It was just more of a me thing. It probably didn't take away from. It doesn't take away from the experience at all. Yeah. Because it's the game still progresses. You still kind of know what you're looking at and what you're hearing, and you still get a full understanding of what the story is. But it's for me, the odd duck that I am, wanting to get every little piece
bit
out of it possible. It was just really crappy to kind of have to see options cut out and then just lose them.
No, that makes sense.
But overall, it's the story is fantastic. There's a lot of humor in it. It is a creepy game, and there are a couple jump scary type things within there. But it's like there's a lot of humor in it too.
Okay.
For example, one of the communications towers that you use is called the Hardin Tower, and it was named after Major Richard Hardin, so Major Dick Hardin.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, little stupid things like that, but it's just
fun
like
things, but you get a good kick out of it.
It was a wonderful little. There were that's not just the only thing. There were like other little bits that got added in like that. So there's a decent amount of humor in it on top of the creepy supernatural ambiance.
Nice. Very nice. So now rating systems are all over the place when it comes to video games and like rating them and such. I'm just gonna say playable versus unplayable. This game is definitely playable.
Oh yes, definitely.
All right, and then how many playthroughs do you think it would take to like glean every little bit, really clean the bone when it comes to this game?
For me personally, it took like, I guess you could call it 3.
Okay.
Because what I ended up doing is I basically did the first playthrough completely blind, like did my own thing, chose my own decisions and stuff like that. The second time, I ended up going in and choosing almost the exact opposite of a lot of the stuff that I was doing.
Just to sort
and
of
it was mostly, I wanted to see like what was actually going to be different, and B, I was also kind of on the achievement hunt.
Okay.
Because I'm a completionist at heart, so a lot of my games I try my best to like find every little thing that I possibly can to 100% it.
That makes sense.
So for Oxenfree, I know there were 13 achievements on the Steam version. I'm not sure if that meant that there were more in like consoles or something, but there were 13 achievements, and after the first run, I got through almost all of them. I got like about 8, 9.
Okay.
So I really didn't need that many, but I knew I was going to need 2 playthroughs because there were 2 endings that I had to go through that were different than what I got before.
Right.
So overall, if you want to like gleam through and get every single achievement, and you want to like see probably like the 3 major iterations of how things can go, you probably would only play it about maybe 3 times.
Okay.
The average person probably could get away with playing it once or twice, because there are a lot of things that happen in the second playthrough that change if you've played through it already. Which is, it's odd to say, but it's just like...
No, it's things are different. You notice different things, or is it...
Yes and no, because it's kind of like an Undertale thing, where it's like... The second time you play through it, the save file remembers stuff that you did before.
Okay, that's impressive.
So it's like you kind of... You go through generally the same plot and stuff like that, but there's going to be a couple of things that pop up every now and then that are going to be a little different than what you remember.
Right.
And I thought that was pretty cool, too.
So then, now with the dialogue choices that you were mentioning before, is it mostly just like choices in like, oh, let's go left, right, or are there like morality choices? Is it like, I know I'm used to like the BioWare method, which is the like wheel of dialogue options. Some are good, some are bad, and some like change your alignment as you go. Is there like a morality element to it, or is it mostly just like different choices of like...
There is something similar to it. Basically how it kind of works is it's not necessarily a morality system towards you, but it's more about how the other characters perceive you.
Right.
So you're playing as Alex. You have 4 other characters that you interact with at various points during the game. You have Alex's new stepbrother Jonas.
Yep.
You have her good friend Ren. You have Ren's crush Nona, and then you have Nona's friend and your sort of like arch nemesis Clarissa.
Got it.
And there's also Alex's brother Michael that makes a few varying appearances here and there, but generally it's just those core 5.
So it's a bit it's like a bit like a typical like Tales from the Borderlands, Wolf Among Us, where like a Telltale game where
your decisions will have effects on other people, and thus how they will interact with you, how they will perceive you, how they'll like kind of come to either love or hate you, sort of thing.
Understood.
And there are it's kind of hard to track the meter because it doesn't exactly tell you what you're doing that the characters like or dislike. The key thing that happens whenever you do make a choice, though, is that some characters will have a thought bubble come up over their head that has another character's head in it. Okay. That means that what you just said or what is just happening is affecting that character's opinion of that character, that other character in another, either a good or bad way. It doesn't really tell you. You just kind of have to make assumptions.
Right.
Like, you can say, oh, we can't find Clarissa, let's just leave without her. We like every man for himself kind of thing. Yeah. You'll see those bubbles pop up about you because you just said, let's leave someone behind.
Right.
So obviously you kind of know that means that they're not thinking very kindly of you.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's not exactly a system that's got any particular way to gauge it, but it does exist, and it does change. Like, it drastically changes how things happen. Like, if you're doing things like in a very kind way and trying to be like, you know, the hero of the game sort of thing, like most people usually
Everybody's best friend.
Everyone, like, people will be open to you. But in that second playthrough, when I started picking all the asshole options, holy crap, people turned. Like, people just went, like, they went off on me at the slightest provocation whenever I suggested something that was, like, I knew was awful. And then you can also kind of walk the middle. Like, you can do both, and, like, you'll receive a very kind of lukewarm response from people. Like, if you pick something extreme, obviously they'll react to it. But if you kind of walk that line and go between extreme and good, it kind of varies. And there's a lot of different dialogue options that pop up when you are kind of going that route. So, like I said, it's something that you could definitely play through multiple times and not see every single iteration.
Well, there you go. Well, neat. All right, so that's Oxenfree.
Oxenfree. It's a fantastic game. Definitely recommend it.
What's the price of that on Steam?
Price of that on Steam, I believe, was at $19.99. Granted, I picked it up on sale, so I picked it up for about, like, maybe half off. I got it for maybe, like, $10.
And do you think it's, like, I mean, regardless, you want to support the developers, but...
Or maybe it was $10 and I got it for $5. I can't remember off the top of my head. But, yeah.
Now, would you recommend buying it on a Steam sale? Is it that kind of game? Or is it more of, like... Is it sort of like something where you're like, go out and get it right now, sale be damned, you need to experience this?
I definitely think you could if you really wanted to. Like, I only picked it up on a sale just because I was, like, really on the fence about buying it, because I knew even less than what people know now for the game being out for a whole year.
Okay.
It definitely has proved itself to be one of my favorite adventure games in the past, like, couple years. And it definitely, I feel like going forward, I'm definitely going to be keeping this in mind as I'm playing other adventure games. It's like, what could they be doing better? Like, what could they be doing that this game did that was, like, so great, or what I thought was so great that they could implement?
So like your new adventure game benchmark. Like,
yes. Well,
this is the bar.
Yeah.
Surpassing.
It's either that or Life is Strange. Like, one of those two definitely really held my heart this past year. I mean, I've played a lot of Telltale within the past holiday season, because I finished up Batman and Minecraft Story Mode.
There you go.
And I did the first 2 episodes of Walking Dead Season 3.
Nice.
But it's just like, even though I played all of those, and those are still really good games, Oxenfree and Life is Strange really just kind of win it for me. Yeah.
Well, now, do you think that's part of a like Telltale? My problem with Telltale has always sort of been a thing where they do the same style. A lot of times it's the same style, it's the same with, like, slight variation. So, like, Wolf Among Us looks a lot more pulpy, Borderlands looks a lot more Borderlandsy. Like, you can switch the characters around, but it's still like a Telltale game at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You're not going to get any, like, new graphics. You're not going to get any new, like...
Yeah. There's definitely, like, a certain formula that they end up following.
Yeah.
Granted, that formula does allow things to get changed up every now and then.
Right.
Like, I was honestly really surprised at a lot of the stuff that they did with the Batman game.
Okay.
And I thought that it was a breath of fresh air compared to a lot of the other games that I had played by them. Okay. But it's like, you know, Walking Dead is always Walking Dead. Minecraft was pretty cool. I did enjoy that. But I do hear what you're saying, where the formula really... It more allows for different... venues and properties. It doesn't allow so much for, like, I guess, innovation on that front.
Well, it's you're never going to see a gameplay change drastically from, I guess is what I'm saying, which I always saw was
it's pretty much like it's a mixture of like a cinematic narrative where you just pick an option when dialogue options are presented to you.
It's a choose your own adventure book.
There's a couple QTEs and there's a couple like point and click adventure type stuff, but it's the same thing day in, day out.
Yeah, they're just adding like a different flavoring to it, which now do you think that like Oxenfree and Life is Strange sort of breaking that mold and being different from those is to their strength, to their weakness?
I definitely think it's definitely to their strength. I know that Life is Strange was probably the closer of the two to the Telltale formula because it was episodic. There were different like dialogue choices and different like choices that were made in the game that drastically change how the rest of the season plays out.
Right.
But overall, it's like it's not like you're watching with Telltale. You're more watching the movie play out. Okay. And you're just getting to choose like where they go, what they say.
Do.
Whereas with Life is Strange, it's not. You don't really see that many cinematics. You kind of more just are playing through a point-and-click adventure game, making a choice, being told that choice might have consequences, and then getting the opportunity to like redo it or do it in a different way or something like that.
Very nice.
So it definitely feels like it's a lot different. And then Oxenfree is even less of that formula because it's more of just the point-and-click adventure game with a like conversation ongoing and a dialogue tree that just pops up every couple of seconds to see where the conversation goes. Because there's it definitely has a very point-and-click adventure game thing to it because you're literally just walking around a 2D environment, interacting with various objects or locations around the map.
Now, a game that I saw that did a similar, when you say like walking around and a conversation's happening, you just pick a thing. I remember watching gameplay of Firewatch, which also did a similar sort of system where you're walking around the woods and you have your radio out and you're like talking to your other park ranger that you like never see. And it's one of those things like, oh, hey, there's a box here. Oh, yeah, that's the ranger. And like you're picking stuff as you go. And that had a similar sort of vein of, I'm not sure if they're in the Northwest. I think they're like,
I think it might. Actually, no, I think it is. I remember now. I have not yet played the game. Going to, though, because I know that was another one that got recommended to me by a couple other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's also around the Pacific Northwest.
It hits the mystery. It hits the, like, really interesting style. And I think it's definitely... They're making some really good games out.
I know.
It's one of those things.
It's a good couple years to be an indie gamer.
It's good to see indie developers making really good games and having those games be really appreciated. So, all right. Well, we hit our destination. So
we are here at the Vernon Diner. So we're going to go eat, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about some Oxenfree and maybe some other stuff too.
Probably some other stuff.
Because we've
already talked about Oxenfree for an entire car ride.
Fair enough.
So we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how that goes. But we're going to go eat. So we'll catch you in a couple minutes.
There you go.